Hello and welcome to the new season of Hearts and Minds. On the programme this evening, it all ended in tears for Margaret Ritchie, but will the new leader bring the SDLP better fortune? The return of the supergrass, but is justice itself on trial? And guess who's on line for the top civil service job? Insiders only, please.
Well, the public think it's a stitch-up, don't they? I mean, that's what happens.
Now, in this age of equality of opportunity, you'd think the Northern Ireland Public Service would be a model for transparency and open access. But oh no, the civil service is looking for a new top cat, but only internal candidates need apply. Now one Stormont minister wants the whole process suspended until the executive has a chance to look at it. Julia Paul investigates the closed world of the upper ranks of our public service.
It's September and it's game on again at Stormont. But as these members of the civil service limber up for the year ahead, who's going to be in charge? There's no doubt that leading the Northern Ireland Civil Service is a tough job. You're responsible for 12 departments and a combined staff of 28,000. And in the current climate, it's an even greater challenge. So just what sort of qualities do you need to lead the civil service team?
My successor has to be someone who can be firm with our political masters.
Oh, absolutely. No nonsense with that lot.
Joking aside, there are concerns that the civil service can be a law unto itself, as the former SDLP minister, Denis Haughey, well remembers.
There are very set, established procedures that you have to go through in order to make policy. And you have to go through the civil service and work with them. And I found very often that they were only too anxious to facilitate you in making policy. But there were times when I found them a bit obstructive because they thought that they knew better than I did.
This dates back to direct rule, and by force of events, civil servants were required to undertake tasks which should normally have fallen to ministers. And I think that devolution itself has changed the situation where it is now properly the devolved ministers who stand out in public and do the things which ministers are required to do, and not civil servants.
But what about the makeup of the civil service? It's still, in the words of one critic, male, pale and, well, stale. There's never been a woman head, for example.
If one looks at modern organisations throughout the British Isles, and you look at the Northern Ireland Civil Service, you would say it hasn't really moved with the times. And I'm struck when having dealings with civil service departments in England, often the most senior staff are of a much more diverse range of people. Women, people from ethnic minorities, younger people, people who've had different career paths. We don't see that in the Northern Ireland Civil Service.
When the present head, Sir Bruce Robinson, took over in 2008, the post was advertised internally and externally. But this time, it's only open to those already in the Northern Ireland Civil Service. The former head, Sir David Fell, says that's because the job requires a complex range of skills.
It's unlikely that you can develop those skills other than through many years of training in the civil service and experience. I mean, you wouldn't take another profession like the army, say, and appoint a biology teacher as head of the army. You wouldn't appoint an accountant as head of the judiciary.
But while the guessing game over which internal candidate will get the job has started, the appointment process is being questioned. The Civil Service Commissioners for Northern Ireland, the body that oversees the appointment of senior civil servants, have expressed grave concern that the post is to be filled through internal competition. In response, the Northern Ireland Civil Service said that such appointments in Dublin and London are also internal, and that the person chosen will be approved by the First and Deputy First Ministers.
Well, the public think it's a stitch-up, don't they? I mean, that's what happens. I mean, I would have got throughout my time as Commissioner people saying, oh, there's no point in applying for this post because it's already been fixed. And I'm saying, no, that's not the way it is. But that's what people see.
Now the Environment Minister, Alex Attwood, is calling for the process to be suspended until it can be discussed by the Executive next week.
I wrote to Peter Robinson and Martin McGuinness on the 3rd of September, saying that I didn't agree with the approach that they've adopted, that the head of the civil service had particular responsibilities to their